And we're live.
You feeling better?
You good, Woody?
I hope so. I don't know. I'm just not feeling my best. Like the AC in this room is cranked down to like 61. My feet are cold, but my hands are sweating, and I've got a headache. But we'll push through.
Shit.
We'll make it.
Oh, that's COVID.
Right?
Oh, you got the Rona.
It's like you can't not feel well without thinking about Corona as a possibility anymore. Yeah.
I've gone back and forth on that thing 3 fucking times about how serious I think it is. I feel
like I've passed like ships in the night with you. Like in the beginning, I was like, this shit's gonna be so real, it's gonna be awful, and you were like, who fucking cares? And then like a few months in, I'm like, this shit is so overblown. It is still serious, but it's not nearly as intense as you know what we've done in response to it. And you're like, I don't know, man, I don't want my heart and lungs to pop. And it's like I'm at the point also where it's like it's like, which way is the wind blowing? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I do know that like I don't want a cold. I don't want a cough, right? Like I don't want any fucking thing. And it's not like the hoops I'm jumping through to prevent COVID are so arduous that it's even worth complaining about. Like those people, those anti-mask people are such fucking pieces of shit pussies. Like comparing it to like burkas and comparing it to like dildos in your mouth or whatever they're fucking comparing it to. They're such fucking losers. They're such fucking losers to politicize every fucking thing. Everything's either right or left, right? Like down to the kind of fucking toilet paper you use. You pieces of shit. Just try to protect the old people who are like vulnerable to this disease. Just like you should be protecting them from every flu and cold and cough and sneeze and everything always, right? Like I don't think it's the Black Plague, although the Black Plague would be a whole lot easier to cure these days. It's just penicillin.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, it's fucking it's antibiotics. It's no big deal.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's the Black Plague, but I also don't think it's bullshit at the same time. I don't want it. I don't want it, but I'm not terrified of it at the same time.
Same. I think we'll wear a mask.
It was a recent piece of news in Italy. So as you know, Italy had it really bad, and then it got better. It's kind of like what New York did, where it's not bad anymore. 50% of the people that had it are still saying they have some sort of leftover symptoms, a little respiratory function degradation, typically. And that's the part that, like, if you told me, Woody, you're going to be really sick for a week, it's like, oh, that sucks, but I've been there before. With a chance of permanent respiratory degradation, I'm like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah,
like
I would hate that.
Yeah, like, I don't want that at all.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's any. This is one thing, like, I don't know what to fucking believe, because I see so much shit, and like throughout the whole thing, like the World Health Organization and the CDC have been tremendously inconsistent. Like the World Health Organization off the start was saying, don't wear masks, it won't help. They wrote articles about that. And then a month later, oh, wear your mask, do this. And obviously a mask helps. Like it's keeping particulate not from going directly into someone's eyes or something. But like, I don't know. Like some people are like, oh yeah, it's 40%, 50% of people are getting long-term problems. And other people are like, oh, that only happens in nursing homes. I really am at a loss. Like I don't know who to trust.
The inconsistency is so bizarre because when the flu happens, obviously some people get sicker than others, but some people don't fucking like have heart damage. Nobody gets heart damage from the flu. You're like, yeah, Bob got the flu. He can never walk upstairs again. Wait, what? What flu is this? It's the new flu. And 5% of people, it makes them shit themselves uncontrollably too. You know that? No. What else does it do?
I'll take the stairs thing.
Well, you can't taste anything ever again. Wait. It's like all these ridiculous symptoms.
One of the problems is that, like, it's so new, we're learning about it along the way, right? So I might have projected or wishcast onto something Taylor was saying, but like, he's like, oh, they said the masks were bad, and now they say they're good. I don't know if they were wrong or if they were learning along the way. They said kids aren't impacted. And then I heard like kids are getting these weird rashes. And I think we're kind of back to like kids aren't impacted very much anymore. They said the mortality rate was really high. And now it seems like the mortality rate isn't quite as high as it used to be. They say 50% of Italians have long-term respiratory problems. But I don't know. I'm not seeing that everywhere else. And I'm just like, because we're learning about this on the fly, things I knew, become not true anymore. Things that I didn't know or like become new. I don't know. It's we're not really well educated, and we don't know the impact of this thing. And it's easy to see everything they got wrong and paint it as a lie. But sometimes they're just learning. You know, the respirator. Remember the respirators were like the hot ticket. We needed so many respirators. The nation had this respiratory shortage, or respirator shortage, and then it turned out
you
that
didn't really need it.
I think they were not the best way to treat this thing. I think maybe steroids are better.
Well, the thing about the respirators is, and it's what Donald Trump was always like trying to like be like, you know what the deal with respirators. The deal is that like once you put someone on a respirator is breathing for you.
Right.
You know, it's a breathing machine because you can no longer fucking breathe. Those people are on death's door. You put somebody on a respirator, they're almost dead. So like the percentage of people who go on the respirator who ever recover was very, very low. And he's like, you guys keep talking about the respirators. Do you know the respirator numbers, right? Because it's like 5% of the people that go on the respirator live. He's like, everybody's saying you want these respirators. But really what you're talking about is extending the life of a incredibly ill person for another month or something.
If you're on a respirator, you're already in a very
It's
bad.
not like, it's like, we need more respirators. They're the cure. It's like, no, they're what you do when someone's lungs are completely shot.
Yeah.
But if they're COVID shot, does that give them a better chance of recovery than compared to like auto accident shot? You know,
I would think so. Like if it's an 80-year-old who has COVID, like it's probably already that like, okay, well, this disease finished you and you're kind of just alive because you're on this machine, you know?
Yeah.
I would guess that because the old people have shitty bodies. But like on the other side, I'll see stuff that doesn't ring true either, where there was a big thing going around recently where it's like, oh, CDC sneaks in that only 6,000 people who died actually died solely of COVID. All the rest had,
pneumonia,
comorbid conditions and things. And it's like, okay, that may be true, but the number one comorbidity of this seems to be obesity. And so if that's one of the comorbidities, it's like, yeah, obviously this hits fat people the hardest. We already know that. That's like most diseases hit fat people the hardest. It's like, okay, but it wasn't that there were 100,000 fat people in the country and that 6,000 of them weren't. It's like, no, the majority of this country is overweight. And so like, that's a comorbidity that it probably shares over the general population, you know? So that I was reading that and it's like, this seems kind of,
that one didn't have legs. But I agree. Like there are a bunch of people in my universe. I'm trying not to say my Facebook feed who were like, it turns out only 6,000 died from COVID. It's like, oh, stop. That's like saying Woody didn't die from a gunshot wound. He died from bleeding out. It's like, yeah, well, one sort of initiated the other.
Yeah.
And I'd be alive if it wasn't for the bullet hole.
There was no parsing out of it. Like
pneumonia wouldn't have killed me if it wasn't for COVID. Stop acting like I didn't die of COVID.
Yeah, or you wouldn't have gotten pneumonia if you weren't infected with it. Like if it came out and it was like 98,000 of the people who died had cancer, you'd be like, whoa, okay, hold the phone. Like this is absurd. But like when they don't even parse out what the comorbidities are, and it ends up being like being fat, it's like, okay, you're kind of pulling our legs here with this. This is very tricky.
Gonna die from fatness if it wasn't for the COVID.
Yeah,
like that guy
would have eventually.
Oh,
but
okay.
not now. Yeah.